Now today, we're thinking about Jesus coming in, and what they call it a triumphal entry. Now, we all know that Jesus came on a donkey. But normally we'd think, what would you think of people arriving, if it's a big triumphal procession, if the king was going to come, what would you think he would arrive on? Anybody get any thoughts? A Bentley? Oh, Stacey's saying a Bentley, that'd be her choice. Anyone else? What else would a king arrive on, do you think?
Big gold carriage.
A big gold carriage. Oh, no, that'd be quite posh, yes. Apparently that gold carriage, the Queen has been said in the past that it's the most uncomfortable thing to be in because it's rock solid. So a big gold carriage. Stacey would prefer a Bentley. Is that more comfortable, Stacey?
Yeah,
You don't get that a bit. Anybody else? Any other thoughts how a king might come in? How might a king arrive?
A helicopter.
Oh, a helicopter. Oh, yes, a helicopter. Now, I have heard that King Charles has been known to arrive in Dumfries House in a helicopter. So well done, Sandy. Any other ways you could think? Yes, Ben?
limousine.
A limousine. Oh, yes. Now, I'm always worried these limousines. There was one came up our street one night, and they got up the street and then discovered that they couldn't turn to get back down. So the very large limousine was reversed. Now, I don't know if somebody guided them because we're up a hill, and it's quite a high hill, and it's quite a long street, but it reversed the whole way down. I would not want to be driving that limousine. Any other ways you think a king might come?
Big fancy horse.
A big fancy horse. Now, back in the day when Jesus was around, that's the way they would have ridden in. And it wouldn't just have been any normal horse. It would have been a magnificent steed, one of these ones that was ready for going into battle. And how did our king arrive? On a donkey. Do you know what I'm going to tell you as well? That donkey had never been ridden before. Nobody had sat on that donkey's back. Does anybody know what happens if you sit on a donkey or a horse's back that's never been ridden? Yes, Davina's right. They throw you off. But you know something? That didn't happen. The donkey didn't throw Jesus off. He tolerated it when they put blankets over his back and cloaks. The donkey was fine as he rode, and it had been quiet to start with, but it certainly wasn't quiet when they came nearer and nearer. People started waving palm branches. They started throwing down their cloaks, and the donkey was stable and still. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. See if you want people to come. So let's say I wanted people to come to the community cafe on Wednesday. How do you think I would get them to come? What do you think you might use? Just now, what would you maybe use to encourage people to come to something?
Tempt with tea and food.
Yes, you tempt them with tea and food. Now, I've seen a certain Tracy in here has been doing something on Facebook recently. What have you been doing on Facebook, Tracy?
I've been advertising.
Tracy's been advertising. Now, if I was to say, this is not happening, by the way, this is not false advertising, this is not happening. If I was to say on Twitter tonight, we're serving free pies at the community cafe, I would guess that would spread. If I said the same thing on Facebook, it's not happening. If you're watching, you're thinking there's free pies on Wednesday, there's not. If I said the same thing on Facebook, people would come because they would see it. How did they know about Jesus? There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was no messaging. There was no newspapers. That's how my dad finds out information. The news and the newspapers. There's none of that because most people couldn't read. So how did people find out? People spread the news. Well done, Joyce. People spoke. It's not really something we do so much now. So I'm going to show you something, right? And I'm hoping this works. Are you ready? So, I'm hoping this is on camera. Are you okay on camera there, Lewis? Yep, Lewis has got me. So, if one person was to tell somebody else, then 4 folk might know. And if these 4 people were to go out about and tell loads of people, then maybe 20 would know. And if these, you're thinking I've got a spot under here now, aren't you? I've not. You're thinking I've got a wee trick one now. So if 20 folk went out and told everybody, then maybe 60 or 600 might know. Because we're all spreading the news. And if these 60 folk told other people, then maybe there was 3,000 out there. And that's how word got round. Everybody spoke up. And everybody told someone else. Now I wonder if we all spoke up after today and said, do you know, we had fun in church today. We heard about a king. We heard about a king who was riding a donkey. How many people would actually think, do you know something? Church actually sounds quite fun. I might come along and see what's happening. I might not come to the Sunday service, but I might come along and see what's happening in that community cafe. I might come along and see what's happening at Golden Age. I might come along and see what's happening on a Sunday morning for my children. And this is what we're called to do. We're called to reach out. So 3,000 becomes 6,000, and we spread the news through the world.